Well, hello everyone. Welcome in to the Titan Series Ladies Division qualifiers. This is going to be day one, match one of four. We got 4 rounds of action, mayhem, and strategy to begin with you today. But first and foremost, I'm Red Eyes, and I'm joined by the ever amazing, ever beautiful Bella Fox Gaming. Yeah. And anything can happen in the Titan series. This is where you are forged in fire. And kicking things off with the very first match ever, the very first map introduced Erangel, and already we have quite a decent spread here on a pretty optimistic flight path to start things off, Bella. A lot of drop opportunities for these participants right off the rip. Got Georgia Pole, North and South, Yasnaya, Pachinki, and we already are getting some action at school. It looks to be the likes of Run Nation Esports. Ooh. That's the thing, you know, with those map views. Objects can appear further or closer than they actually are. Well, we got Lily Esports Nicole already equipped with that Bison 53-round clip ready to go. Probably a little underutilized in terms of meds and utilities. Trying to get a little more properly equipped before taking this fight on, but that's in a perfect situation. And Tara already ready to go with a frag grenade aimed at Sparkle. Pretty unlikely to get any connecting damage, but enough to keep the opposition a little bit warned. Yeah. Nothing off the top. Yeah, that's again in a perfect world, perfect scenario. You want that react in the moment, get something, and you know, make do with what you got. And I think in a case like this, if you've got 3 opponents here pushing up on you, just go with the flow and make what you have work. Hopefully your teammates have something a little better utilized. But poor Minth, not even a helmet to her name, and desperately trying to push from Lily. Alright, that my chat can hear you. Oh! That was quick work here. And now Tara ready to go with a Tommy gun, fighting every moment she can as Mandu cooks up a retaliatory nade towards Van, trying to get 2 birds here with 1 stone. They've already got Minth down. One more knock is almost an inevitable push, and I bet we're about to see it right here and now, Bella. Yeah. Now, I just want to be sure, we are staring at a knocked Sparkle right now, right? We are seeing the same thing. I see. I think our... Well, Bella, I got something to say. Welcome to the esports scene, and that goes across every game. Just every single, you know, release and title. There's going to be technical hurdles that just par for the course at this point, you know.
Nice.
Woo! All right, and I think, yep, I got you on the feed at the same time right now.
I hope.
Right. Well, I'm watching Dope Cat Veins on my main feed.
Okay, nope. I happen to be looking at Lily Esports, and then we just switched over to Angel's Esports. They're running around down its shelter. We've got Angel's Esports, at least from what I can see right now, they're running around down underneath the shelter, but I do hear shots. Refresh. Medias. All right, hold on. I'm trying to refresh my media source.
Yeah, I just did the same, and so right now it brought me into Durozinto Gaming on ZAM. Takes a few minutes to, or a few moments to catch up, chat. Bear with us, a little bit of patience here. We'll be getting things going and diving into this area action here on match 1 of the Ladies Division Titan Series. Okay, so on my feed, Bella, I've got Durozinto Gaming. We got Zaza pushing closer and closer towards members of Team Control. All right. So, yep, Bella is trying to get caught up, so our feeds line up, ladies and gentlemen. I'll take care of this for the time being. We got Control right in the midst of Burn in Silence with Luna holding on to a M4 UMP combo. And if it was 2022, beginning of 2022, late 2021, that would have been the meta combo for sure. However, even with an old school meta combo like that, you're going to need some assistance. And it's a good thing we got Elisa, Lady, and Leo Mary here coming to bring some assistance. Burn in Silence holding off a little bit hesitantly here, and we don't know what their equipment situation is looking like here, but understandable as this is still just the beginning of round 1. We are just now reaching the concluding portions of stage 1, and there is plenty more Erangel to dive into for the remainder of this match. Plenty more action ahead, so none of these ladies want to be making any easy mistakes. They don't want to be ruining their shot at really making their name known here, really setting the tone for this season, especially not in match 1. And already I can see we got members of Durozinto and Silence closing pretty close onto each other, but with threats north, south, and west. Silence holding position, and a battle of patience, if anything. I don't really see it panning out to any immediate pushes, even with a knock. So at this point, I would say probably not the best utilization of what ammo and resources that they have, but any bits of pressure that they can get onto Team Control, any probable reason to get them to make a slip up, or vice versa, could undo everything and could result in a push. And already we can see Leo Mary pulling a flank rotation from the cliff end. Bella, whenever you get back, just let me know, and I will cut out this Energizer Bunny rambling. Oh! Well, we got Bistaro here taking a shot to the face, and it is going to be all on the shoulders of Rival to secure this revive, while Anna and Oren try to provide some overwatch and cover fire if possible. We can see him just one house over across the street and keeping the pressure on. All the while, Team Silence taking a little bit of negative attention, getting one of their members down and potentially dusted. Let me have a look. Yep.
All right, I might be back up.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you. I looks like I'm looking at Team Control, Eliza, and she's staring down the barrel of a car 98. I like that look. That's a nice one.
So right now I'm on Leo Mary of Team Control.
Okay. Yep. Nope. I'm on Burning Silence, Madonna. So I can.
Okay, so you're just a
bit.
few moments behind me here.
I love technology.
I do too. Hold on. I think I'm gonna message here. I think I know the solution. All right, so Eliza, car 98 already with that 8X readily equipped. Pretty lucky to have it this early on. Just beginning into stage 2 here. Desana trying to just play a bit of the waiting game. I do feel like Burn in Silence is just going to probably be holding down this compound for the time being. They're not going to be making or taking the bait, let's say, that Leo Mary is trying to dish out, not without a knock first. I don't see them really giving up the safety of this compound cover. However, we have another variable pushing into the equation, and that's going to be Zona Roja Esports with eyes on Sweetie, making her way towards the altercation in, taking a lot of damage in the process, shot down to just above half health. We got this Dario putting in a little bit of work on Zona Roja as well. That is going to bring them down, as we say it, to a two-piece, unfortunately, as I cast the first. Riri and Sweetie removed from the equation, bringing them down to half their starting lineup, reliant on 20K and KJ46 to carry on for the team for round 1 and try to secure, at the very least, some placement points. But as a two-person team, Bella, it's going to be a tough one to pull off and get decent numbers on. So I think the name of the game here for Zona Roja, at least for the remainder of the next, let's say, stage 3 and 4, probably just trying to acquire some placement points and maybe a third-party steal or some sort of easy elim if presented. The numbers, well, I'll say, I was going to say manpower, not really the right word for this one, the numbers and resources to be playing aggressively or let's say pushing themselves out into any of these wide open field vulnerable situations. So
no,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say no. I absolutely agree with you. The right of them. They've got another team, Team Control, I think it is, that's down there that they're being the BIS Esports is staring at right now. And it does look like Golden Fire Ixia is potentially moving on down. They're a little bit farther away, but like you said, as a two-man team, their main goal at this point is going to be go for placement points. Steal one if they possibly can, especially if they can steal a knocked one. That's always the best kind of points to get. Easy points.
Hey, no one is turning down an easy elim. Those points are absolutely critical, especially in a closely matched in-game. Those placement points can make all the difference, but when they're not quite enough, those elims can be absolutely crucial. So you need to find that comfortable balance of knowing how to get to that in-game, get those placement points, while knowing how to capitalize on your altercations, knowing when to take your fights and when to sort of weigh the options and say, not now. Lisa of Control taking a bit of negative attention herself from Phoenix Esports.
Hey, Red Eyes, when you're looking at the stage 3 mini-map, what time do you see up there? How much time's left on that clock? Top right-hand corner. Oh, I have 56 seconds.
Oh, excuse me. Nope. I think that's on stage I'm trying to see it. It's on a small feed with the map. Yep, stage 3. I was right. 2 seconds. Okay, so on my feed right now, we got Burn and Silence here, putting out just a little bit more of the same. Just some warning shots, if anything, from Control Esports, trying to hold them off at bay, but Control is playing it pretty calmly. They're not really intimidated by shots that can't hit them, and they seem fairly confident that Burn and Silence is probably not going to be pushing out there without the knock first. So, as I say it, Lady thought she was pushing out into the open, but I think she had some land cover there.
I'm working out a few more things over here. If you could
I
just
think I got an
kinda take
idea.
that.
Bella, hold on. Let me share my screen here in our Discord chat. And I think that should help you be able to see exactly what I'm seeing as I see it. Yeah. I'm going to put this up on main screen. All right, here we go. All right, Bella, in our private chat, I just sent over the feed exactly as I see it. Let me know if that works out any better, because currently I'm looking at Sugar Esports closing in on Angels, and we got Juanita here, AK Scar L combo. Level 2 gear, untouched, undamaged, ready. Basically, the whole team looks pretty well positioned here for this. And they're going to be the last point in the back pocket, getting the vehicle to a little bit of safety, just in case they need to make that immediate retreat. And I think it's a pretty smart move, given the lay of the land here, with members of Silence and New Moon not too far off.
All right, Red Eyes. I've gotten word from Control that I need to separate out, so I got to leave this Discord at least for the remainder of this stream, or the remainder of this game.
Okay.
And then we will.
All right. If I should stop the stream feed then in Discord, yeah?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, ladies and gents, we got Carol keeping the utility pressure on Sugar Esports, keeping some nades running, making it a little bit of a fire crash down. However, a couple third-party shot opportunities here for the likes of Lily, as we see Peter and Marley exchanging bullets here, at least exchanging some warning shots, trying to keep the pressure on. This could potentially turn into a bit of a sandwich situation for the Angels. Retaliate here, and she's just needing to heal. They're not going to be able to do much. They're going to be stuck here in between Sugar. If they were to try to retreat out the back end, New Moon is very likely going to have a line of sight on them. So it's a good thing that they have their vehicles. They have an escape, but I think it is becoming a battle with time here. Yeah. As I say it, I don't see members of Silence pushing any closer. Perhaps I don't need to worry about it just yet, but with Juanita engaging with the likes of Lily Esports with a full squad of Angels right in front of her. Juanita trying to catch that last line of sight there on the trail. No connecting damage. A bit of a slower altercation. Good thing that she has no shortage of resources here. Readily equipped with 5 nades, 4 smokes, plenty of meds, and plenty of bullets in the chamber here. At least in terms of her Scar L, ready for basically a a real camping situation, kind of gatekeeping Angels from really making any escape. An unintentional team up, you could say, between Silence and New Moon. But no time for that. Getting eyes on Burn and Silence as they finally close the gap on Zona Roja Esports. This is a bit of an altercation, a stare down that has been unraveling. And now 20K feeling a little bit of the pressure. Nades being thrown through the window. 20K shot down from the side. I believe that was third-party shots taking her down to then finally the frag grenade crashing down from Orin to take her down to the prone zone. But no time to celebrate for Orin as she is retaliated on almost immediately and quickly thirsted to follow. And unfortunately for Anna, it looks to be more of the pessimistic saying. That's going to leave everything in the hands of Taro and Rival. And as I say it, Taro pushing in, adding a little bit of molly pressure here. Trying to go for a very risky but understandable revive attempt. Rival going to try to hold off Zona Roja with some utilities of her own. Meanwhile, Control in the thick of it with Dope Esports Fem. We've got Leo Mary very, very weakened in terms of armor. You can basically breathe on that helmet and it is out of the equation. And an almost coated level 1 vest. This is gonna hurt. She doesn't have a lot of luxury to be out in the open at this point. So Lady getting into that cover fire as they fall back to try to get to the buggy in time. Will it be enough? I mean, it's a pretty bug. Interestingly enough to note, though, Dope Esports Film was able to take the positioning from Control. This was the ledge that Control was holding on to for the first, I'd say, stage and a half, maybe. And they haven't had to rotate too far, really, the entire game, if you think about it. But they have been pushed out from that ideal location by Dope, and they are going to keep the pressure on, getting the knock on Leo here, and this is going to bring it down to a two-piece of Eliza and Luna if they are not able to stick. Oh, pardon me, Eliza, Luna, and Lady if they're not able to secure that revive. And I would imagine if I was Dope Esports that this is the opportunity they've been waiting for. And yep, Anji capitalizing on the moment, not wasting any time, coming forth, guns a-blazing, and oof. Oofs in the chat as Anji 5, that CQC close quarter combat annihilator making quick work of it. And that is going to leave Luna and Lady in a tight situation here. And you can tell they have had enough. They said, I'm going to dip out of Dodge, try to at least carry on later on into the game. But they're only 4, team slots away from being able to qualify for placement points. So I think that's easily the right move to make there. However, Cat fans of Dope Esports shot down in the east front. It's going to leave Tana, Anji, and that's going to bring Lady, I believe, Lady down to a solo. All right. Closer towards team control, or should I say what remains team control, and somehow able to drive through the open field without a single bullet being fired on the vehicle. Maybe I'm just tuning in a little too late to that, but no, I mean, I think that was just one of those ironic things. You can't really count on that to be so fortunate every time, but she got her little saving grace, second shot at life there. Drive through an open field, don't get a single bullet. Well, we got the Pyra folks here engaging with Vanilla of 4 Kings. And this is interesting to note. Burn and Silence in a bit of a love triangle here with the likes of Dope Fem and Golden Pyra. And with the zone closing in at their backside, it does not leave them a lot of options in terms of where to rotate. Not without sipping on that blue zone damage. And so, yeah, they're going to have to engage, take on, I mean, at least one of these teams, and that would leave them vulnerable to a third. So it's going to be a tough situation. Let's see. Ana and Rival try to make their move. Getting in the vehicle for a flank rotation, and Rival is taken out of the equation right at the shack before any actual rotation was able to be implemented. Ana attempting a shack revive and almost against the clock here with what would be a dope push. All the while, utilities being thrown from the backside here. It's dope and team control coming in from the backside. This is spelling nothing but trouble here for Burn and Silence in this 2-1 split scenario. All the while, Arrows going after Madness. And yet Lunox facing in and Burn and Silence, team control, and Lunox. Yep, and that is quick work. Ana taking down Phoebe. Blair retaliating with a knock on Ana. And Anji taken down in the distance from none other than NM. This is a tough endgame. Just a couple seconds pass by and 20% of the playing field removed out of the equation. Down, done, and dusted just like that. Rival desperate for a revive, and to say it's risky is an understatement, but it could be worth it if they are able to secure this revive on Ana, and it looks to... Whoop. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, we got Taro here, putting him out towards SG. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, we are just trying to work through some of these audio issues, trying to get these beats lined up. However, we do have action unrivaling before us. Yeah, I do think that we have a little bit of an audio sync issue, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you what I'm going to do to resolve this. I'm just going to go ahead and mute the game sound so it doesn't start throwing us off, and we'll just commentate off the rip here, no audio included. We got Mira of Pyra trying to get a takedown on New Moon, but just quickly swallowing bullets to the dome. Princess of New Moon holding that shack's cover for dear life, and those four walls provide a false sense of security more often than not. But we'll see if it ends up panning out in her favor. Virgo of New Moon below half health with 2 of the team's 5 elims to her name. Bison at the ready with an M4 as her primary, and boy, to watch that care package drop down so close but be so far away at the same time. All the while, Lily Esports swallowing a pretty tough pill, and that pill is in the shape and form of a frag grenade. And Tara is going to join her friend Nicole in the prone zone. Lily Esports is finding this entire match unraveling in a matter of brief seconds. Princess with eyes on Silence, not taking all the attention off of Lily, but keeping her backside accounted for, not trying to let all of her attention flow into one team. She wants to keep eyes on Sassy as well, and rightfully so. We also have Juanita, what I believe to be the last remaining member of Sugar Esports, still in the equation. A sneaky little snake in the grass at this point, but we have seen in PUBG Mobile Esports just how often and frequently and how huge of an impact a solo can make. And also we have seen what a caster curse is. And I think we just got reminded right then and there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are down to 7 players remaining spread across 3 teams here. We've got Lily Esports, Silence, and New Moon. It's a 3v2v1 to end round 1. And we have it right there. Kuina, shots outward. Scarel, not really much connecting damage, at least not really enough to even provide any sort of comfort towards a knock. Nothing to reassure you, okay, this is our chance to push in. And it's really unfortunate because there's not a lot of opportunities left here. The clock is ticking, the zone is closing, and this is where it becomes all out bloodbath warfare. Nims of Silence, one of 2 remaining members of her team. But look at this, Team Silence with 11 elims, and 5 of those 11 are still between the 2 remaining members up, Sassy and Nims. So you can't really rule them out of anything. Okay, I withdraw my sentence here. It looks to be that there's 4 members up on New Moon. That is going to be a huge game changer. You cannot place enough emphasis on having a full 4-person team come that end game in PUBG Mobile Esports. And oof, Sassy is learning that the hard way right then, leaving all the pressure on the shoulders of Nims alone, and she is trying desperately to get to a position to revive her fallen teammate before this inevitable push comes in from New Moon. And, oh yep, here come the utilities. Hellfire crashing around, and that candle is burning bright. Nims is out and done and dusted. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be a New Moon finish to kick off round 1 of the Titan Series Ladies Division Season 4 qualifiers. All right, just a brief moment here. We do apologize for the technical hurdles as we try to line up these feeds. We'll be back at you in just a few short moments as we come back with round 2 of 4. Stick around, we'll be back soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Bella Fox, if you can hear me, say something, let me know. But we have the results in for round one, and boy, did New Moon set the tone with a 20-point chicken dinner on the tip of their tongue finish, and trailed behind by only 3 points is Team Silence. Not being too silent, all things considered. Lily Esports, really holding their own up until that final stage 7, when everything just sort of unraveled in a brief few seconds. They're in third, but literally tied neck and neck with Sugar Esports with 11 points, and trailed very shortly behind by Burning Silence with 9. Right now, the battle for Queen of the Hill, I'll say, is between Silence and New Moon, but that is just one match of 4. We still have 3 more to get into with us today for day 1 of the PUBG Mobile Titan Series Ladies Division Qualifier. And okay, look here. This is interesting to note. Team Control, after having such a I will say a commanding presence at the start of round 1, really keeping the pressure on Burn and Silence there at the edge just outside the bridge, ends up not really able to amount to many points at all. With only 1 elim and 1 placement point, that is going to be a tough start to set the tone for the entire qualifier series. Going to depend on how they handle the rest of these matches today to see if they allow that to sort of affect their psyche. And I think in this case, it's kind of just one of those shake it off situations, because we've seen Team Control in some of their better performances, especially, with the Control Invitational, just absolutely commanding the attention of all the other participants, especially in the Erangel matches. I remember Beans Brigade and I were saying, that seemed to be their specialty point. So it is unfortunate to see a rough start here, but it's only match 1. We still have 3 more to get into here today, and several more days of qualifiers ahead. So plenty of time to alleviate this deficit, but it's gotta come down to some quick corrections. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be back in just a few short moments. we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So sorry for a couple of those hurdles, but we are back in action here with a little destruction in the desert. Round 2 of 4 of the PUBG Mobile Titan Series Ladies Division Season 4, Day 1. And yeah, we're going to talk about a different geography than Erangel. What may not have been their best start to a day can be undone, and you can change the whole tone on a map like Miramar, because it is the most vulnerable and sniper intensive map that we have in PUBG Mobile, meaning you need to be extra alert of not just your immediate surroundings but your distant surroundings as well. This is a map that, while being open and having a lot of open geography, has a lot of variety in terms of elevation too. There's a lot of overwatch angles here and a lot of points of vulnerability to keep an eye out for. So our participants are going to have to be on extra close guard tonight. Already off the bat, look at the spread here. As they're given one of the most opportunistic flight paths afforded to this map, we can still see members of Lunox Esports dropping around the Pozo region, and they're not going to be alone. They're going to have Burn in Silence as well as Team Silence. And further north, we can see some congestion between Golden Pyra and New Moon Esports. That could very likely amount to an early altercation, but as I mentioned in the Erangel match, it has never been more true than on a map like Miramar. It's such a large map that objects can appear a lot closer on the map view than they actually are, meaning these teams could have quite a bit of space in between them from what we are seeing here. Now, on the main feed, we can see members of New Moon, the winners of round 1, feeling that confidence and momentum in full force here, confidently dropping around the edge of this new zone here, and their closest point of contestation would be between themselves and Four Kings region. It looks like, yeah, they've got a decent amount of space. However, with Vanilla up on that hilltop, it could still be exactly what I was mentioning earlier. One of those situations where you get sniped from 300 meters away, and there's not a single person watching this event that hasn't felt the full force of that themselves a million times. All right, we got Rage of Burn in Silence just holding position, laying low. And you can understand why. She's got a little bit of space between several of her teammates, but members of Lunox not too far off. And with it being, you know, in a congested city like Pozo with a lot of building options, she might not be too assured of just where they're at in the city. So I don't blame her for her hesitation. I think it's probably the smart move as we kick off stage 1. This is probably the weakest the participants are going to be in terms of loot and resources for the entire game. So yeah, never more an acceptable excuse for hesitation than maybe right now. But as this potential altercation looms on, the remainder of the playing field has a bit of space. I mean, I really would only see maybe one other point of contestation. So it does appear to be a pretty par for the course start to a Miramar match. A waiting game, a battle of patience for us, the viewer. But if that sounds frustrating, it shouldn't be, because... Whoa! There we go. KJ46, Scar L with a quick takedown on Durazinto Gaming's Zaza, leaving TE2 to try to be in charge of a little medical. Oh, it doesn't look like he's on, or she's in charge of revive. She's in charge of overwatch and cover fire, and maybe providing a little bit of safety here for her teammates to get this revive off. Unfortunately, she herself has swallowed a hefty meal of bullets in the process, needing to heal up herself. And any of us who have been on an airplane knows that you have to provide oxygen to yourself before providing it to your loved ones. And I think she had to do so herself. She's not going to be much use in providing cover fire if she herself is at 10%. 20K. Bit of a low ground anxiety point is what I'll say. I'm not going to say disadvantage until I see the rest of the playing field, but here Aisha is about to be swimming in a pool of golden Pyra opponents. Preparing with a preemptive nade here. See if she can get an easy knock on one of these and maybe help even the odds. Unfortunately for her, her teammates are a bit spread out, and that could be very problematic any way you look at it, even if it's not rotation here. It's just dividing up the resources that should be equal. The woman power, the resources. And, that's definitely going to affect things. And he's going for a risky rotation despite what I just said. Actually taken down instead, and no time to celebrate for Sugar Esports. As soon as they get the knock, they are joining their opponent down in the prone zone as they're knocked in retaliation. So now we're down to what I believe is a 2v2 or a 2v1 here, depending on how many are knocked. Arrows cooking up yet another utility. She only has one left remaining here, and this is about as weak as she's had Kixia down to. There's probably gonna be that was probably the best moment that she could have had in terms of trying to secure the thirst, and even then would have been vulnerable to Elxia from that high ground. So stuck in between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. Kixia catching Aisha way off guard, completely blindsided. But then as soon as she sees red, no pun intended, she is taken down and served a cold plate of revenge herself. All the while, Scatty getting a takedown in the distance. Eros, the final hope here, able to secure the revive on her fallen teammate, Aisha, and that is going to bring them back up to a two-piece. Surrounded by a new threat, and that is going to be the approaching Lily Esports with Kuina as the overwatch and forefront of this threat. 4x M4 aimed inbound, and this is a question anyone who's ever seen me commentate, I find there's so many scenarios where my answer for this will change every time, but this debate between geographical high ground or the compound cover that's low, and I think in this place, it's really tough to say. Tara, if she was knocked in retaliation without a push, it's not gonna be a thirst. There's just no way. And vice versa, if let's say Aisha or Eros is knocked in here, more than likely they're going to be out of the line of sight of that window if they're holding that wall cover. So neither really in a position where they're going to get a guaranteed thirst opportunity without a push. And in stage one, that's a lot of resources to be investing in a gamble. Well, Mandu and Nicole, I do like what I'm seeing here. A 2-2 split by Lily Esports, really showing some confidence here, able to divide up their resources and get multiple lines of sight there on their opponents, multiple pressure points. Just going to add on to the pressure for Sugar Esports, especially with what Lily is doing now, pushing up, approaching from multiple angles simultaneously. And if you're just a two-piece, wait. Aisha able to secure a takedown, but desperately in the edge, of which she has nothing. And so Arrows really going to pull out pressure on her shoulders as well. With all the health in her name, she is able to secure one takedown on Kuna, and that is going to bring a lot of noise in commotion, and just like that, the sharks in the water in the shape of Esports, they smelled the blood and they are approaching in for a third-party attack. And Arrows desperately trying to met up with what bandages she has. Candy Lou and Princess all playing this a bit patiently. I don't want to say impulsively because this spread actually looks nice. We have Princess approaching with a nice utility knock. Meanwhile, two members of her team holding the Overwatch, one member holding the Overwatch, and two rotators on each side. Talk about a sandwich opportunity for a third party. And Virgo knows it. They know they've got Nicole down. They've got Lily Esports Weekend. And they know they were fighting somebody, so it's very likely a Weekend Sugar Esports. And will they capitalize? It looks to be like they're going to go for it. Candy Lou pushing in from the back, trying to wait so they can all push in simultaneously. Make sure that they all have each other's cover. At least numbers. Tara literally putting up one final stand there. When she started, man, he might finish with a DBS. Of New Moon Esports. The winners of round one almost undone in round two, but not quite. Catching eyes on Eros, the final hope now for Sugar Esports. And boy, this is turning a lot more bitter than sweet for poor Eros and Sugar. So this is going to be one of those situations where if they know she's here, it's bad news bears. But if they aren't aware, she has a real opportunity for a surprise knock. That could be enough to help even the odds enough. A 1v2 is doable. Here's as best as you can. Arrows taken down to half health. Not really much she could have done differently in that case. And unfortunately, it's going to be good golly Miss Molly crashing in around her saying what's up. But gifted by the grace of the PUBG god, she has got a sliver of health left. But the princess has spoken, and the arrow is pointing to the lobby, unfortunately for her. And New Moon just building onto the momentum of round one and really setting the tone here for the Titan Series Ladies Division Season 4. Meanwhile, we got Angels in the outfield closing in a little closer on, I believe, Golden Pyra. Oh, pardon me, Phoenix Esports. Apologies. Phoenix Esports and Angels. Well, couple warnings in there. However, Inactivia taking some return fire from Carol and definitely swallowing a little bit of damage, taking down to just above half health. Likely not going to be too big of an impact. Doesn't seem to be enough for an Angel push. Phoenix actually going to use this opportunity to rotate. We see Paulzina joining her teammate for this flank rotation. And boy, you know, I asked this quite a lot on Miramar. Chat, let me know what you think. What would you be using? What vehicle would you be using for the most ideal rotation on Miramar? I see a lot of people arguing in favor of the buggy just because its ability to maneuver these dunes. But case in point for what I'm just about to say, it's also one of the most vulnerable vehicles in the game. And as Ixia went on to illustrate for us right there and then, taken down to half health. Luckily, thanks to this more recent update, able to bandage up while driving. Not a 10 and 2, but maybe one hand on a 10. All right. So, while she gets these meds kicking and getting her health back up, we look at the playing field here, and we definitely see some congestion northeast. That's going to be between New Moons and Princess going in, guns a-blazing. UMP 45 laying the smack down on Orin. Rival trying to retaliate with a nade that is not going to fall even close to the mark. However, it looks like Taro getting a little bit more closer to dialing on the coordinates. She hasn't quite sunk the battleship, but she's feeling the pressure. And Princess taking some damage. Finally, just in time for some backup that is very short-lived. And now everything relying on Princess alone. And for some reason, Burning Silence turns their back to the last member of New Moon. And boy, one of the last two members of New Moon, and feeling the mistake immediately. Now, Princess is down, leaving it down to X15K. Apologies there, ladies and gentlemen. They were a two-piece, not a solo. But now, with a guaranteed weekend New Moon Esports, Burn in Silence could make the most of this. Does seem a little hesitant on that push there. Knowing they had New Moon down to a two-piece with one down, seems like the best opportunity for the aggressive pushes you're gonna get. Even if you're not able to get there before the revive is pulled, you likely will be before the knights are. And that New Moon has set, and it's gonna be a Burn in Silence victory from that altercation. Definitely putting a halt in that confidence the odds a bit for the rest of the playing field. Dope squaring off against Zone. Tana is taken down. Anji, Cat Veins, and YIW remain. Cat Veins trying to provide her fallen teammates some cover here and attempt this revive. It's going to be risky any way you look at it, especially since Team Control is here in the mix as well. That could also be Dope's saving grace as Control and Zona Roja dial in on one another, focusing in, turning their back to Dope. This could be that second shot at life that Dope needed here. Lady with that QBZ keeping the pressure onto KJ, and what the QBZ bullets didn't do, maybe the nades and mollies can, and boom goes the dynamite, all too literally. KJ taken down to about 20% of her overall health, but not gonna be, wow, I literally cast her curse in real time. I was gonna say it's not gonna be enough for a takedown, and she gets the first hit off, and before I could finish the sentence. Well, if you don't believe in the caster curse, you will before the end of this night. KJ now holding this corner here for dear life, and options are slim. Talk about being the deli meat in a peanut butter and trouble sandwich. Yeah, Team Control and Dope are the bread, and she is the only sandwich food there. It is going to be a tough one. The only real shot I see for her is if she is able to somehow wait for Zona and Dope to dial in once again on each other, and unfortunately, well, Tana finding a pretty good line on some members of Control, getting some very decent damage in, but not enough for a takedown, it seems. Lady, Leo, Mary, and Eliza provide a little cover, while Elisa, or pardon me, their fourth, heal up. Well, we were talking earlier about geographical advantages on Miramar and how there's so much variety and elevation, so many points of overwatch and pressure points to really keep an eye out for. Well, Duraznito Gaming, illustrating that case in point as Zaza just underhand tosses down onto the shoulders of Lunox Esports. Zaza coming in, UMP 45, keeping the pressure from one angle, all the while letting her teammate maybe have another angle of contention here. Unfortunately, it looks like Syrup has been taken down, and if I was a betting man, I would think Lunox would maybe push on this. And yes, there we go. Oh, unfortunately enough for her. Shot right over the rock top there, honestly compromising that high ground advantage, kind of giving it up, so to speak. And Madness from a low ground point, still able to put in a big change in the tides here, and maybe even provide an opportunity for an escape route. Again, one of the points I like to, utilize here with this high ground is once they get the knock from Syrup, watch here. They have no line of sight to secure that thirst. I mean, maybe a utility can make it up there, probably, but it also is going to come down to a bit of the guessing game. So without that push, if you're not ready to commit to that instant push after securing that knock from that low ground, I don't see it playing out beneficially. And TE2 going to use this opportunity to dip out of dodge, and that is probably the best use of that situation, in my opinion. Trying to use that opportunity while they secure those revives to... Meanwhile, Control, about to lose Control to Dope Esports if they're not able to... Oh, I withdraw that previous sentence there. Looks like Control has 3 members on Dope, taken down to Tana and Tana alone. Boy, catching Lady off guard, putting the shots in, but not able to secure the that close. Lady taking the... Oh, pardon me, it looks like Eliza and Lady down at this point from the third-party shots coming in from Team Silence with that high ground, keeping the pressure on Control, not really giving them a lot of opportunity to exhale and breathe a sigh of relief. They got to get those revives implemented in time, get their teammates healed, because they have every reason to expect a push. Meanwhile, we got 4 Kings looking onto Nation Esports with a line of sight, not quite able to make the most of it. Minth having yet another tough go here. This time, one of the 4 Kings has swarmed down upon her. It's Battle of the Bucks, and Minth is out. Well, that is not a bad go there. That's going to bring members of 4 Kings up to 2 elims total so far. However, Roblox, no time to celebrate. As she secures that elim, she is quickly joined down into the prone zone shortly afterwards. We got members of, I believe that's Angels Esports, firing from the hilltop, but completely unaware of Rage's location. However, Rage being the final hope for Burn in Silence, I wouldn't imagine that this would be an altercation that she would want to bring the attention onto herself with. Every team that's eliminated from this point out is just yeah, she could get 1 or 2 elims, maybe. That's 1 or 2 points, but she could just lay low and hope that one team eliminates another, and boom, extra points just like that, without even having to use any resources. And Moni here, putting shots outward onto the 4 Kings, and one of them is down there. That's going to bring 4 Kings down to a 2-piece here, giving Silence a little bit of a number. However, as this zone has shifted, the rotations have begun, and teams are beginning to push their way towards occupying this new zone, which, may I add, Scotty is that's a tough, high-calorie meal of nade damage there. That is a hefty serving of it, and that's going to put a lot of pressure here on 4 Kings. Roblox trying to hold off Silence, Nims, and Moni here with some utilities, prevent that push so some revives can happen. Anki is back up in action, and they are going to move forward, continuing as this 3-piece. Boy, and this is where the numbers are just going to plummet. These next 2 minutes are going to show a lot of players the first-class tickets to lobby. And any extra placement these teams can get are absolutely critical points. Especially for weakened teams like Silence, who have lost half of their team here. That is ideally one of, the few luxuries afforded to them as a 2-piece in an endgame, is that they don't necessarily need this attention if the other teams. Silence, they had the right idea, wanting some compound cover, given yet another chance at life here, as Control and Silence unintentionally team up, taking out a common enemy. And unfortunately for Money, the money has been spent, and it is going to be a risky revive. The only shot at that revive actually being successfully pulled off is if Angels and Control dial in on each other, and it looks like that might be what's happening. Marley throwing a couple utilities out towards Lady and Leo Mary's way. Sounds like she's using sound cues alone here. Leo Mary, no doubt aware of Scatty's location on this shack top here, trying to make a Molly go the distance, but falling just a little short. And quick work with the UMP. Scatty taking a little bit of damage, but able to dish it out and then finish what her teammate started with yet another takedown on Lady. Definitely going to need to heal up, but with these brief moments, she knows that the remainder of Control is definitely pushing up to try to secure some revives. So it's going to be some long shot Molly attempts to send them home in hellfire. But Lady, very like to be revived here. And honestly, Leo Mary as well, this may have been a opportunity wasted or potentially more self-control than I can measure. But regardless, Nims brought right down to the prone zone, and it's all in the hands of and numbers just aren't high ground again. And now Control with no time to celebrate. They are going to go to heaven long before the Angels do. Oh, Control won it? I apologize to the Angels in the outfield. I am so sorry. I misread that. I somehow thought that the Angels had come out of that one victoriously, but it's going to be Control. And doing so, weakened from a fairly early on point. I believe they lost a member pretty quickly on, but still able to put up 8 of 9 eliminations between 2 of their 4 members. That's impressive work. But let's not discredit second place, as the Angels taking home silver and doing so with 11 elims. So, you know, you look at it, 9 elims in a first place finish, 11 elims in a second place finish. Pretty on par performances, fairly balanced, and that is going to keep the pressure between those two for sure. I think the main takeaway from round 1 would be the early elimination of New Moon Esports, really sending a bit of pat on the back there to the rest of the playing field, saying, hey, this is not going to be one of those days that just escapes all of us, okay? This is not going to be one team gaining a 50-point lead on day 1. We were able to cut New Moon down in their tracks at least early on enough in the day where they're not able to steal the show halfway through. But we still have 2 matches ahead of us here, so we're only halfway through the day. Anything can happen when you've got 2 more matches to forge yourself on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a few short moments with round 3 of 4 of the Titan Series Ladies Division Qualifiers Season 4. That's it. there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A impressive finish there by Team Control and Team Angels. I want to give them both credit there. I actually had mixed up the result there at the end of that match. I thought Angels had taken it, but Control really putting up an impressive performance, taking home that chicken dinner on the tip of their tongue, gold medal first place finish here, and ending round 2 of 4 with 11 points to take home with them. Only one elim, so there's certainly some room for adjustment, room for improvement. They are comfortable at securing their placement, and they are comfortable under in-game pressure is what that tells me. And a little bit of the same can be said for Angels. Definitely know how to reach that in-game and know how to react under those split-second decisions. Third place, however, this is the point that I want to eliminate. Team Silence, a much different strategy, coming in with a all-out berserker strat, guns a-blazing, out there to spill as much blood as possible on the desert sands, taking home 11 elims along with 5 placement points. That is a 16-point game from match 2 alone, and that is by far going to be the strongest point game from any of the teams that you've seen here in this match. And the last point I want to make about these results here, if you scroll all the way down to slot 13 there, you see New Moon Esports, and I do wonder if maybe that could have been, okay, well, no time to check it. Yeah, see, New Moon, even with being eliminated early, able to acquire 10 eliminations, so eliminated early on with the 3rd highest number of point games. How? Silence in 2nd place overall here with 15 elims total, but realistically finding themselves neck and neck with New Moon after such an aggressive round 2 performance, finding themselves basically at each other's throats with 26 points each. And hey, 3rd place is at their heels. Control after such a strong finish there in round 2. You know they're feeling that momentum and that confidence. Can it snowball to something bigger, because they are only at a 5-point deficit, what are words, from taking that Queen of the Hill title. And only time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We're going to be back in just a brief few moments with round 3 of 4. Run Nation, I'm sorry, I did not even see that. Run Nation, not a single elim. And let me remove my camera, because I'm betting I know what it's going to say. I think it's going to be an onion. It's an onion. Oof, the only team with a big O on the playing field still. Well, that is, that's definitely a pinch of pressure on their shoulders. They're not going to want to have that be the precedent for their reputation. They're going to come back here in rounds 3 and 4 and hopefully make some adjustments, but time will tell. We'll be back shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We are back. We are back with a little rumble in the jungle. Round 3 of 4 of the Titan Series Ladies Division Qualifier Season 4. I just want to give a huge shout out to the Titan Series for putting on these community events. I want to let you guys know that this event is being broadcasted from the primary Titan Series channels as we speak. And Bella Fox is out there solo casting and doing awesome. Absolutely just blowing my mind away in terms of expectations for the amount of experience versus the quality of commentary and the confidence and just charismatic personality. I'm a little bit jealous, and I think you guys should all be dropping in and at the very least liking the stream, showing some support to Bella, and giving the stream a little bit of love as well. Be sure to like it, maybe share it around on social medias. I'm just doing this part for the fun of enjoying PUBG Mobile Esports, but I want to make sure that she's getting some of the proper credit she's due here, because boy, oh boy, to solo cast Titan Series fairly early on in your commentary career, that's a big set of nerves to pile onto someone's shoulders, and I think she is just doing awesome with it. And I think people should be giving that some attention. Well, here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, a surprisingly slow start to what is usually the most quick to the action map here. Sanhok, one that we know to be just riddled with close quarter confrontation for several reasons, not just because you can get anywhere you want by jumping off the plane at any point. You can get anywhere, deploying your chute early enough. There's nowhere that's out of reach, but also because of the abundance of compounds with an abundance of loot. Everyone's getting the weapons they want pretty early on. And then the third factor, geographical cover absolutely everywhere. You can be a snake in the grass 5 feet away from an opponent without them having a sliver of a clue that you even exist. And that makes you a very formidable threat. So all our participants here on extra guard every time they take a step through the grass, just making sure that they have their audio cues really tended to here. We got Riri of Zona Roja catching a brief line of sight on Run Nation, but not really trying to engage or draw any attention to herself. That would clearly be a bad idea in this situation, so spread out from her teammates. All right, well, little bit of downtime there for the likes of Run Nation, and not really concerning that they haven't, you know, had any elims. It's just a few moments into phase 1, but the zone shift, wherever that actually ends up being, could really be a difference maker on how this plays out for any of these teams. And for instance, let's say it's a southeastern finish. It's going to mean that literally 60% of the player base has to move to rotate into zone, and vice versa. We've seen it time and time again, these water zones shifts in Sanhok. I believe it was, goodness, maybe even PMSL or PMGO, the bridge water finish, absolutely blowing away people's minds. Anything can happen on a map as chaotic and hectic as the Sanhok jungle. Well, catching eyes on Sugar Esport, we got Aisha doing a little bit of lead scouting, maybe relaying some info to her teammates behind, but not really much info to relay from that angle. The Angels here, so close to having that chicken dinner finish in round 2. You know that they're hungry for it in round 3 here. And if, I hate to say, you know, this so redundantly, I do say this often, but these maps are designed to have different play styles. Different geographies present different obstacles, different opportunities. And so if you had that rough Miramar or rough Erangel match, well, that maybe moving into Sanhok, you can come in with a fresh mentality here because this could be... Honduras Nito. We got Zaza and our teammate here putting the work on Riri and Sweetie and really sending members of Zona Roja back to lobby. Let me see here. Zona Roja at this point, either a two-piece or a limit. Oh, they got two members up. With that newly buffed M249 with the 4X, getting the knock on Seal. Now, here is my question. With that knock, what do you plan to do with this opportunity? Because there's no shot at securing that third from that cover point. They had that boulder cover. Again, geographical cover everywhere here in Sanhok. So if you're not really ready to commit to a push on that, it's a debate on whether or not it's worth using the resources. I think, you know, if it's Sanhok, may as well. You're going to get the ammo. You're going to get the utilities back. Even if you're not able to secure the thirst from that distance, you know, you're weakening Duraznito's armor. You're taking away their bullet supply. You're doing little things to chip away at the opponent. If you got the line, you got the easy stick knock, I mean, yeah, take it. And the good thing here is that members of Duraznito are not going to lose any members in this process, going to carry forward as a full four-piece. Not a lot of progress made for many, if any, of these teams so far this match. I might be wrong, but I don't think we... Hold on. Nope, I don't think we have a single... Oh, I take it back. Yeah, aside from Duraznito, I don't think we have any elims on the playing field yet. So, leading us into a shockingly passive beginning to match 3 here. And that means one thing and one thing only. An absolutely chaotic mid to end game. And these numbers, you know, they might not have adjusted much here in this first stage. Maybe not even in the second. Maybe not in the third. But come 4th, 5th, 6th, those numbers are going to drop like the stock market in 2009. It is going to be a quick shift in player counts. And, you know, those brief few moments when that happens could be a real point gain if you're able to make it into that placement bracket. Catching eyes on members of the Four Kings. We got Roblox here with one of her teammates here holding off an opposition of, I believe, a full 4-piece of Team Silence. Good luck with them. Maybe if it amounts to something, if an altercation brews out, we'll get back to that. But for now, Lunox Esports, Phoebe getting on the hood top here. She is the decal on the front of this and using this opportunity to bandage. I mean, there's never a... This is the most vulnerable player on the map right now is Phoebe. So, you know, while she doesn't have her gun pointed, aimed outwards, honestly, yeah, heal up. Make sure you can get all the health you can. If you hear those shots being fired, maybe they'll adjust from there. But, oof. All right, well, Anki playing a little bit of a game of silence, ironically enough, against the Team Silence. Trying to keep a surprise factor here. If they are going to push in on her, maybe they don't know of her location. I withdraw my previous statement as Sassy coming in with Molly's already leading before her. And this could spell trouble for Anki. Anki with a Molly to try to retaliate with some Hellfire up the flames, and Sassy's able to finish the job with some 7.62 to the dome. That's a quick takedown on Anki. Sassy can't dial in too much. There are more members of the 14 very close by. Catching wind of Roblox behind the boulder, putting out some warning shots, not really hitting any marks, but maybe this nade will. Oh my goodness. Well, Sassy is gonna have to get a little more polite. and ask Nims very nicely for a revive, because it's going to be a risky one to pull off. All right, Roblox going to try for a preemptive nade. If she can secure one more knock with this nade, you can almost bet your bottom dollar that it is going to be a push in from the other angles from her teammates. All right, well, Roblox has been an unforgiving one for her, and it is back to lobby, leaving it down to Quack and Vanilla. Quack, I really like what she was doing there, utilizing that coastal cliff. And the reason she does this is, you know, it seems obvious if you've been a viewer of PUBG Mobile Esports for years, but maybe this is your first time tuning in and catching wind of it. So it is particularly advantageous because she doesn't have to account for an entire 180 degrees. Her entire backside is almost definitely gonna be low threat situation. So I think she had the right move, and from there she also had a bit of geographical cover on out of the line of fire. Anji pushing up towards Quack, and a battle of utilities ensues before us. Anji quickly switching to that DBS, and goodness knows it's a lot of barrels aimed in on the opposition, and I gotta say the Four Kings didn't stand much of a chance against a DBS and an S12 Anya pointed from 5 feet away at once. That's a tough shot to follow. All right, New Moon, you know, honestly, what can you say? Even when they don't do well, they do really well. Meaning New Moon in round 2 eliminated second or third in. You know, like I believe, eliminated 15th or 16th. Just some horribly early elimination. But somehow, in that brief few moments of stage 1 and 2, they were able to put themselves in enough high-risk situations to acquire 10 elites. So the team who was eliminated third in match 2, ironically enough, coming out of the game with the third highest number of points. That is a rare sight to see in PUBG Mobile Esports. And when you do, you have to just acknowledge the talent. To be that confident in aggressive gameplay, well, there's no way to fake it. You know, you either can get the numbers or you can't. And so there's not really a way to fake that. You know, they had the skill, they backed it up, and they showed everyone what they can do in a matter of 10 minutes. So definitely a team to be keeping an eye on in the kill feed. Definitely a team to be watching to see if they've been eliminated. You can bet a lot of these closer placing teams are going to change up their playstyle to a bit more aggressive the moment that they see that New Moon has been eliminated. All right, so more of a waiting game here. Dope Esports really wanting to use that cliff tactic we were just mentioning. And it looks like Catbane's going to be a sneaky Michael Phelps water snake here with a swimming rotation around the cliff. Ironically enough, above water, just paddling. That could easily be heard if her opponents are working. Meanwhile, the Golden Pyro in a act of self-sacrifice, just diving into a pool of the enemies, and really short finish for that. Well, that's going to leave the remainder of her teammates in a weakened position, probably kicking their feet that they lost one of their support systems, that they lost that extra angle of cover fire down the road, but pick up the pieces and move forward with what you can. Adaptability is the name of the game in PUBG Mobile Esports here. And if any team has shown adaptability, I'd say New Moon is at the top of that list. All right, well, Lady, interesting to see team control this reserved here in this position, but I see why. Because there is a high ground holder in the shape and form of Marley of Team Angels, and this eye in the sky is a problem for control for a number of reasons. Even without you know, achieving a knock, she is able to provide a lot of scouting info and intel to the rest of her team, and that could be extremely problematic for control if they actually give any information up here. As long as they sort of remain out of that line of sight and not making too much noise and commotion, there's not a whole lot of intel to be relayed. However, time is of the essence. The zone is closing, the damage is ramping up, and moves are going to need to be made. All right, well, Sparkle running down to the bottom of the barrel for medicine here, down to her last first aid, and look at that zone just chipping away. I think it's going to come down to kind of do or die here. She's going to have to push out into that vulnerable open area and very likely take on the fight with the final member of Four Kings from that low ground disadvantage. But we've seen, you know, hurdles like that be conquered numerous times today, and it wouldn't surprise me if she's able to pull it off. But time, as I said, time is of the essence. The clock is ticking, and she's gonna have to do it soon if she's gonna. Rival of Burn in Silence holding a little treasure trough here, this bit of compound cover on the very edge of this new zone. Barely working into this new one, but meeting the mark. Anji with a line of sight on a member of New Moons. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta apologize. I have a foster puppy here today. It's day one with her, and she's a sweetheart, and I think she really needs to go to the restroom. I would like to reemphasize that Bella Fox is solo casting this from the primary. So if you haven't yet, be sure to drop in and show her some love. I'm going to be stepping away for a few moments. Stick around. I'll be back for round 4. All right, sweetie. Yes, I know. All right, guys, I'm back. However, I am not alone. I am joined by a very sweet girl. This is day one of fostering this sweet, sweet puppy. And I've been teaching her sports. Ooh, Oren preparing a utility, but taking all the distraction, all the opportunity that Taro needed to get that off angle and use the high ground to their advantage. We're down to 2 teams. It's going to be a square off between the Angels and Burn in Silence. And look at this. The Angels did not need to compromise their high ground location since I left. They have been able to hold it down there. Sorry about that. And pretty impressive work. It seems like the numbers are definitely in their favor here. It's a 3v2 showdown. But if Burn in Silence is able to get a nade knock from down there, honestly, what is that going to change? The amount of time for a rotating flank to get up there and try to secure any thirst, slim. It's all going to play down to this next zone. And so that's a very different kind of threat for, Burn in Silence versus the Angels. Angels with a utility is from that high ground, that's a real problem. However, vice versa, Burn in Silence, most of the nades that they are throwing up there, they're kind of going off of where they saw the person last or where they last heard the person. Most of the times they're not actually having a line of sight. For example, Marley doesn't have an inch of herself exposed down there. So, case in point, realistically, this is a huge disadvantage with this current zone. But depending on this next shift, I mean, I say huge disadvantage. If neither of the teams can really finish the other or get a line of sight on the other, it's just going to kind of boil down to what the next rotation is. But Oren taken down from the shack and leaving Taro as the final hope here in a 1v3. She's got 3 Angels above her head, and not a one of them is there to bless her. And Scatty coming down with a drop down, barely surviving the fall alone with the hair on her head. But Taro able to take that last bullet and finish the job. And now Marley is weakened. It is a 1v1 and legitimate. The Angels almost lost a 3v1 advantage, but it was thwarted, and a chicken dinner finish there for the Angels was acquired. And not just acquired, but done so with 9 elims. And hey, a 19-point gain in one match alone is nothing to wag your finger at. And Burn in Silence putting up a pretty impressive performance as well. I believe 10 elims and a second place finish. So that's a nice healthy 13 or 14 point game. But ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say this. I think y'all should be tuning in on the official Titan Series channel, where Bella Fox is absolutely crushing this commentary and really finding her performance. It's impressive, and I'm honestly a little jealous of how much charisma she's kind of bringing to the table this early on. She's crushing it, and I think we should all be there tuning in for the last match and supporting. So that is where I think we should be taking the stream here for the round 4 of 4. But I want to say thank you guys for those of you who tuned in and watched here on my channels. We are sorry that it wasn't able to be a co-casting situation like we had intended. But as anyone who has tuned into any esports event ever knows, technical hurdles are par for the course. Again, not just in PUBG Mobile esports, but adaptability comes in handy on the production side too. And we are working with one of the best there is. The best there is in mobile esports. Down one of the best there is. So, if we couldn't do it here, we will come back at you next time, stronger than ever. But let's go show Bella Fox some love as she solo casts this final match of Titan Series Day 1 for the Ladies Qualifiers Season 4. She's doing absolutely awesome. could go from there. I'm going to post the link right here and now. And I hope you all have a phenomenal rest of your evening. Have fun, be safe, be kind to one another. Go support PUBG Mobile esports. GG's.